What's up everybody, Nick Banks again here for all things PlayStation 4, and today I've got a very quick fire review for you on the wonderful surprise that is Furi. I've been quite excited for Furi for some months as I kept a close eye leading up to its arrival on PS Plus. If you've read any of my previous articles about Furi on my website, you've probably come to the conclusion by now that I'm a big fan of Afro Samurai, and learning that its creator had been a part of this game after not hearing a peep out of him for years was a pretty big deal for me. Takashi Okazaki's stories are usually very distinctive as an East meets West kind of style, both musically and stylistically. Furi is no exception to the rule, as music blares out the 80s funk reminiscent of Krull and the 80s keyboard music that you'd get with those kind of films, and the almost Asian, Tim Burton-esque kind of characters cement Okazaki's fresh and still original style into the game. Also, similar to Afro Samurai, Furi finds himself fighting his way down different layers of a space-suspended prison as he escapes towards freedom. This feels very similar to the multi-layered quest through the dojo kind of feel that you would get with Bruce Lee films, and it's clear that Okazaki was a big fan. The only kind of character exposure you'll get is from a narration between boss fights in long, walking segments, where you will learn a little bit about the character that you play as and his enemies, each of which are distinctive and as refreshing as the next. One minute you'll be squaring off against a blood-crazed cyborg in a sphere, and the next a wise old man on a floating island who controls time. It's all a rather epic affair, really. And each of these boss fights will pit you against sometimes likeable characters with an air of mystery about them. And the more you play, the more the mystery unravels, but you will have to work really hard for it. And I say that because Furi took me by surprise with these boss battles, which is the main focus of the game. And they are easily some of the hardest boss fights I've ever played, but that simply makes them all the more rewarding when you finally do push on to the next one. They are extremely fast-paced battles, and careful timing of attack, counter and dodge is essential for survival. This is by no means a game to play hungover, as it will demand 100% of your concentration as you learn by trial and error the different attack sequences to survive through. If you win a sequence, you will heal fully. If you counter successfully, you'll get a little bit of health back, and that may sound easy on paper, but in practice it's extremely difficult and equally essential. So what kind of player is Furi for? Well, Furi is a game for the quick-thinking tactician. It does have minor flaws, the combat is pretty much perfect, but the flaws that you will find in Furi are just little things like camera positioning issues and some fiddly stick controls on those walking segments. But I think the developers were well aware of those issues, which is why they've implemented the L2 button, which you can press for your character to simply walk in the direction that he needs to go, as opposed to trying to bend your mind around those tricky camera issues and which way you're supposed to be pushing the stick. And it'll make sense if you play the game, but Furi doesn't overstep its mark with too much ambition. It is simplistically brilliant in all aspects, from the story to the combat mechanics, and Furi is the kind of game that will stick in your mind for some time to come, and that is kind of the same experience I had with Afro Samurai, which is why I remember it so fondly. Now, if Okazaki is moving into the arena of video games, then this is a name that you are going to have to look out for in future titles, as if he continues along this path, he will be a big one to look out for. And there's really not much else to say. There's fighting and there's walking, and I've covered both those aspects. Furi is free on PlayStation Plus right now, which is a great thing, because I'm going to go ahead and give this a very comfortable 7 out of 10. So you might as well grab it and see what I'm banging on about. Until then, I'll see you on the next video, guys. If you enjoyed this one, please do comment, share, and most of all, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I was hoping you'd try to get out, so I can hurt you.